bottom of the barrel. Jermaine, just Matt. What have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Moving and shaking, shaking and moving, doing what I do, setting the world on fire.
That sounds fascinating. So,
Wow.
so,
Disrespect early. Thanks.
so the internets are all abuzz. Everybody's freaking out because they announced who the new Batman will be, which is Mr. Ben Affleck. What's your opinion, Jermaine? Will he be a good Batman?
I really don't care. I I don't understand why people are so upset. It's Batman. I don't think it. I don't think anyone will be as good as Christian Bale. I mean, you reached the heights, so I'm sorry you're not gonna get another Christian Bale. But I don't know. I don't know what people are expecting.
I think it's hilarious because I haven't been a bit with his acting and everything, and been an Affleck fan a long time, but he's finally kind of coming back around to me a lot with his directing stuff. But he's actually been in some decent movies lately.
I see.
I'm like you. I'm like, it's freaking Batman. Like George Clooney, you would have thought would have been a decent Batman, and it sucked. It all depends on the material.
Thank you.
If the material's good, he'll be fine.
Right. That's why
what he has to do is play a tall, good-looking dude.
Exactly.
And gee, you know what? He can probably pull that off.
Yes.
I mean,
my thing was I thought like once he signed on, I just assumed that maybe he's gonna direct it, and I was like,
Right.
wow, if he's gonna star and direct in it, it'll probably actually be really good.
And he actually got offered to direct it, and he said no. But that was actually, I don't know if that was before they asked him to actually be the star of it, or it was a package deal, but he wasn't interested in directing it, which is interesting, but I don't know if it was too much pressure.
Right.
Didn't think he could pull off that kind of a movie.
I know. It's gonna be tough to top, Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale, but it's Batman.
He's not playing like Othello or
Exactly.
I mean,
it's an action movie. It's a comic book action movie. I don't know. Come on.
Clooney is a solid actor. He couldn't do it. Val Kilmer is a solid actor.
Exactly.
He couldn't do it. Michael Keaton was a friggin' comic, and he was the best one until Christian Bale. It all just depends on how well the script is and how well the direction is.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because who are these yahoos that they keep getting for Superman?
I've been told the new guy's good, but I haven't seen that movie.
Me neither. Man, why are you upset over them picking a name guy for Batman? Because every time they pick one, I'm like, I don't know who this clown is. But when they announced that this guy's Superman, I'm like, really? I don't get it. So if you're not upset over them picking no-name guys for Superman,
I just think people have this thing about Affleck in their head. Maybe they can't get over Daredevil or whatever that movie was.
Yeah, well, that was awful. But I don't think that had. I'm on Affleck. I don't care who you put in that movie. That movie was terrible. You can easily.
That was like a lifetime ago.
But again, that's one that people to me was like, which superhero can we make next? Oh, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just me. But I always thought Daredevil sucked anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't even think, to be honest, I don't even think Daredevil's a good superhero. So just the fact that they made a movie of it.
I think they should go really weird. If everybody's complaining and wants a top-notch actor, who's that guy who's the little person that's in Game of Thrones? They should make him Batman.
Is it Peter Dinklage?
Yeah, they should make him Batman. Do something really crazy.
Oh, man. Well, the other big buzz with the Batman movie is that Justin Timberlake wants to be the Riddler.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
To be perfectly honest, I just don't give a crap. Like,
I'm right there with you.
The third movie, and I like Christian Bale. He's one of my favorite actors. I think he was great. And yet, the third film, I enjoyed it, and once it was over, to me, it was pretty forgettable.
Yep. I liked it, but I just felt like it closed the chapter. It did what it was supposed to do for me.
I never thought it was anything that fabulous.
No.
And I don't know, like Justin Timberlake being the Riddler, I wouldn't get excited over that, but he'd probably be fine, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Patton Oswalt was saying on Twitter he wants to be the Joker. I think that would be awesome.
That would be.
But it'll probably never happen.
No, it will never happen. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna even. I'd be shocked if they use the Joker again.
What I want to know is what got into Matthew McConaughey that suddenly he cares about his career. Every preview for an upcoming Matthew McConaughey movie I see, it looks like he's actually attempting to act and be in a respectable movie.
It seems like something clicked with the Lincoln Lawyer.
I know. It's like, oh yeah, this is what I was supposed to be doing all along.
Because, everyone was like, oh, this looks kind of cool, and then it was good, and all of a sudden, there's been a different Matthew McConaughey. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong.
Dallas Buyers Club looks interesting.
What is that? Is that one of his?
He's like a drug dealer that's dying of AIDS. I'm looking at.
Oh, is that the one he had to lose the weight for?
Yeah, he's doing the Christian Bale lose a bunch of weight thing. He's also in. I just saw the preview for the next Scorsese movie, which looked good.
I'll be all in for that.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for that?
No, but you say Scorsese, I say I'm in.
To me, it looks good. I saw it preview for it the other day, and he's in that. It's like, I want to hug the guy. I'm proud of him not being in these stupid Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston movies where his shirt's off the whole time.
That's a great quote.
Because I always thought, what was that first movie he did?
You got me.
Time to Kill.
I just have never seen that one.
Well, you see that and you think, oh, this guy's probably going to be a pretty good actor. And then he does one or two more decent, okay movies, and it's just downhill. So it's nice to see him come the other way again.
Word. Yeah. Oh no. How did that slip past me? Oh.
But the Scorsese movie.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Preview looks fun.
Oh, they got Jonah Hill in it? That's interesting.
Why he keeps casting DiCaprio, I don't know, but I get he looks like he's gone from De Niro to this is the new guy I have to put in every movie.
Hey, I'm not complaining because I like all the ones he's been in.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't look badly cast in this one. It's just interesting to me. It's just interesting how directors get stuck on like one or two actors.
Some do, some don't. I'm always surprised at the ones who do because I don't know. I had a thought and it's gone. Never mind.
that was a good point.
Thanks. You probably threw me at the beginning when you insulted me and cut me off, and I haven't been able to recover.
Yeah, I call that doing the Jermaine.
Oh man. So yeah, what else you got?
Leah Remini might be on Dancing with the Stars. That's good.
So yeah, it's about as good as it's gonna get for her right now because they're on a mission to take her down. She had that one TV show recently that was awful.
Did you ever watch it?
Yeah, I watched the first episode. It was painful.
Did they have 2 episodes? Because all I remember is them talking.
They made it to 6.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it was terrible.
That's a shame. It seemed to have decent people in it.
Go ahead. No.
No, I was blanking on the dude's name. Is in Arrested Development. Is the magician.
Oh,
Arnett.
Yeah, Will Arnett.
I'm always fascinated how he keeps getting sitcoms, and
they
this new
love
one
him.
does not look good at all to me. But and it's gonna get canceled, and he's gonna get another one.
Oh, is that the one with the parent getting divorced? Yeah, he's like a go-to guy. He's like the male version of Jenna Elfman.
Yeah, but I don't see the fascination with Jenna Elfman.
No, I don't either. But, if there is a sitcom to be had and to get on the air, she will definitely at least get on the air. Yeah. I don't know that it will last. Because she had a string there for a while where it's like, it'd be on, it'd get canceled, then you're like, what, there's another one? Before I could even blink. Because I think she has a new one, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like
Well, the dude at CBS loves her. Like, he's admitted it. Like, he's said it. Like, he will go above and beyond to find something for her. because he just adores her.
Was Dharma and Greg that good? Wasn't that what she was in that first time?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. She was actually. I remember the show we were talking about that Bill Burr was on, that Townie show. She was on that.
See, and to me, if I was the guy who wanted to keep giving somebody a chance, it would be Taya Leone, because she was in a show before she was famous, and I can't think of the name of it, but she was in a show, and I was like, this girl is awesome.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
like over Elfman, kind of big. Then she married Duchovny, and then she faded away. I guess just doing the mom thing and being married to an insane person. But
oh, maybe that was it. I don't see anything else showing up for her. I could have sworn she had a new one where they were trying to put her in.
who Elfman?
Yeah.
They were probably at least talking about it.
No, oh, there it is. Guest starring role in Royal Pain. It's a USA TV show. I was thinking that. Oh, that's the show. She's gonna be in the show for NBC, Growing Up Fisher. It's a mid-season replacement.
That's usually not a good sign.
No, that's what the last show she was on was. That 1600 pin. That was a mid-season replacement as well.
But wasn't Seinfeld a mid-season replacement?
Was it?
I could be completely wrong about that.
You might be right.
I'm pretty sure it was.
You may be 100% right on that one. I didn't know. I thought it was.
I think the Taya Leone show I really liked was Flying Blind.
What was that? Dude, you hit me with one I never heard of.
Which was only on for 1 year, 22 episodes. I need to look up old episodes of that, because I remember liking it at the time, and it gets canceled, and then she gets some other show and gets famous, and I thought, meh, this show's not nearly as good. Flying Blind was 92 to 93, then Bad Boys came out in 95, and then Naked Truth came out in 95.
That's the one I remember. See, I just remember Tia Leone from Bad Boys. Then it was like, that chick's kind of cool. And then she got a TV show, that Naked Truth.
And I never liked the Naked Truth, because I was thinking, this is not as good as Flying Blind.
That's funny. I only remember one episode of the Naked Truth, and it had Sarah Silverman in it. But for some reason, she stood out to me. Because it was like shortly after she left Saturday Night Live, and I was like, oh, there's that one chick. I don't know how I always remember these people, and now I know why.
Yeah. Leone was in a league of their own. It's funny how you can go back and look at something and then realize, oh, that's that person.
Never saw it. I remember the Naked Truth because it was weird, because I think it was one of those weird ones with it switched networks.
Yeah.
Which, never works out.
51 episodes, it was over twice as long as our first series. Yeah, that's crazy.
But you never see that now. Yeah, it was like 2 years on ABC, then 2 years on NBC, which is always weird to me. I think the last time it was gonna happen was Julia Louis-Dreyfus' last show, where they
were gonna do it.
Yeah, ABC was gonna pick it up, but they told her, we want to completely change your cast, and she's like, either it stays the same or we don't do it at all. Which is why I love her. Yeah. Because she stuck up for her people, and they just dropped it.
That Courtney Cox show switched networks. Went to like USA or something. I can't remember. Some cable channel.
It went to TBS.
TBS. Yeah.
Which is always weird, because it's getting about as even less support from TBS as it did from ABC. What are you gonna do? I always feel like it's never a good sign. You're just trying to hold on to the dream. So, you gotta let it die, man.
Man, what about Lamar Odom? I want to say one thing about that. Didn't we see this coming when he was so addicted to candy?
Well, dude, let's not forget.
Dude's got an addictive personality.
First of all, let's not forget his earlier years with the Clippers, where he had a really bad marijuana problem.
Right.
So, nothing that's happening to me is surprising.
But, a few years back, they had a little, probably on ESPN, a little thing about following Lamar around and how he buys so much candy.
Oh, it was insane.
It's like this guy's gonna have diabetes by next year, and he's obviously knowing his past with the marijuana use, and obviously he's got an addictive personality.
I mean, he had issues.
Yeah.
He had issues when he got in the league. I mean, something was there, and
But to me, when they showed, and I think you saw it.
Yeah, because I think we talked about it where it was like, dude, do you see how much candy he eat?
And they kind of played it up as, well, this is a quirky guy, and isn't this interesting, and blah, blah, blah. And I was really disturbed by it.
No, I was right there with you. Cause,
you can say what you will about pot being whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to turn it into some big, political,
but obviously
social.
Obviously he's got issues.
But I don't care if he's an athlete or not. That can't be, your body can't handle that.
Well, and he would always fade away in the fourth quarter.
The sugar crash.
I mean, was he choking or was he just sugar crash? I think that's what it was.
Oh, man. That's so funny. Yeah, it's weird. I
mean, I hope he gets straight.
You would hope so, but ugh.
But I think his dad used to be addicted to drugs too, or had some history too.
I wouldn't be surprised. And then he married that Khloe Kardashian, and that's enough to make you smoke something. I wouldn't be surprised by any of that. It's just crazy. Anything in comedy that's been catching your attention?
Oh man, I knew you were gonna ask me that. Now I'm blanking. Just listening, like I told you before, I was listening to an interview with Norm, Jason Sudeikis that Dennis Miller did. It was just funny to me how it was a couple years old with Norm Macdonald and long. And Sudeikis said probably 30 words the entire time because he could never get anything in on Norm. It was about the version I saw was about 32, 35 minutes. But what have you seen lately?
Remember how we were talking about that comedy festival with like Flight of the Conchords and Dave Chappelle?
Yeah.
I saw where Dave walked off stage last night.
Was that what that was?
Yeah.
Because I saw he did, and somebody's already taken the video down.
Yeah.
Because I tried to watch the video. Were you able to watch it?
No, I didn't get to see the video or anything, but I just read a little bit of the article, which was interesting. And I've heard the stories before, and that was something that drove him crazy while he had his own TV show. And
do you know what they were heckling him about?
No, I think it was, it's probably the stuff that drives him crazy, where, they do the Rick James and all that kind of stuff, which he can't stand.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. But in the article is written, like, some of the ways he's handled hecklers before, which is interesting. But, yeah, I understand why people were upset. Because, I mean, that's a lot of money.
How much was the festival?
I couldn't tell you. But
he's the guy that a lot of people were there to see.
Yeah.
And I was told that maybe he performed just long enough, or he stayed on stage just long enough, where he knew that he'd get paid and not break his contract and then jetted. I don't know how true that is, but that's one thing I read.
Yeah.
It sounded like he jetted pretty quick, though.
Yeah, like he made a couple of statements, and then he was out. So
I know it's gotta be frustrating, but it seems like you gotta be able to handle that.
You just gotta power through. That's my thing. Like, you hate the hecklers, you hate the assholes, but I mean, for the people that are there, there's more people there that love you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're just gonna be relentless. They're just people that come there for that sole purpose.
Man, have some policy that you got a bodyguard there, and as soon as somebody acts like an ass, they throw them out or something. To just play it off, do like a quick, stupid Rick James joke and move on.
Yeah, see, that's what I would do. Like, and I can't remember, there was another comedian that talked about it, and he was like, I just give them what they want, and then I move on. Get it out of the way, and then move on. And I would hate to do your act.
Yeah.
I mean, it was disappointing because, as much as I like Dave, just that if that was the show I went to, I'd be like, son of a bitch.
Well, I'd be pissed at him, and I'd also want to kill the guy that heckled him.
Well, yeah. You know.
Like, thanks, ass. You ruined the whole show.
Yeah. But I heard another comedian actually talking about Sue Costello on Artie Lang's show, was doing an interview, and she talked about going backstage at some comedy club, and Dave was there. And Dave asked her, because she was in The Fighter, she had like a small part in The Fighter, and Dave was like, you know, what's it like working with Christian Bale? She was like, fucking amazing. And he was like, I knew it. He was like, how many times do you think that lighting guy stepped in his light? Like, he's like, you think it was like 50 times before he snapped? And she's like, of course. And he's like, yep. And that's all they see. They don't see the 49 times before. And I was like, that's exactly how I feel about it. Is the one time he has, you know,
an issue,
and everyone has labeled him an asshole. And maybe he is, but
I just think he's a 10.
Right.
In this, nobody seems, I've never heard of any director saying they're not going to work with him.
Thank you. That's my point for all the people that were like, "We see that Christian Bale video? That guy's a jerk." I'm like, well, what's the context? I'm like, what led up to that? We don't see what happened before. We just see the one time. I was like, that's the response of a man that is fed up. Yeah. To me. Like, I said the same thing about the Mel Gibson thing, where the writer taped him at his house.
Yeah.
And everyone was flipping out about that. And I was like, dude, he was at home. He was at his house. He wasn't at someone else's house. He invited you over and you taped him.
Which seems kind of messed up.
That's fucked up. I'll just come out and say it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't like Mel Gibson, but in that regard, I felt like whoever that douchebag was that taped him should get his butt kicked.
What's that writer's name? That's the guy that wrote Basic Instinct, and his son taped him. What's the guy's name? Esterhaus or something?
Yeah, I don't know. He's
kind of he's a weird dude anyway.
Excuse me. And when people are like, oh, I'm like, dude, he was at home.
Yeah, it did seem. It's kind of like, well, what are you doing? Yeah, that was always kind of shady to me. But, yeah. And Alec Baldwin got in another scuffle with another photographer. Everybody excused it.
I'm just so done with him because it amazes me how he gets away with it. But, you know, what the hell.
And this is not a repeat episode. He just does it that much.
The Christian Bale's an asshole because he yelled at the lighting guy once.
Right.
You never hear any other actors or, like you said, directors or anyone go, man, that Christian Bale's tough to work with.
I get the impression he's a pretty solid guy. I mean, I've also seen how Bale has visited a sick kid
exactly.
Who was a big Batman fan. He visited troops he visited, like, one of those shootings out, I think, before Sandy Hook.
Right.
But, he visited...
There's the people in Colorado, because they were going to see the Batman movie.
Yeah, the movie theater shooting.
Yeah.
He visited them, and with asking for any publicity at all.
Nope.
Which is always telling to me. When the press arrives with you, because when people told him, that's one thing, but he didn't tell anybody, and which I dig.
He went to see the sick kid, had them bring out the bat signal and do that whole deal for the kid.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the studio did it. He did what? That's kind of cool. And he bring out the bat signal and put it in the air.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and he paid for the whole thing. That's pretty freaking cool, but nobody wants to talk about that.
No, they hardly even know that happened. I guarantee you there's people listening that are like, wait, what?
Because, we seem to be the only people we know that defends it.
Well, I just don't get the money.
Well, I mean, let's be real. I mean, dude made Batman relevant again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, think about it. No, well, and I mean, piles and piles of dog shit superhero movies.
With always that little gem squeaked in, like Iron Man or...
Yeah.
It's like, what? When Superman originally came out in the 80s?
Yeah.
And there was, like, problem.
Nah,
I think it's... He should be the kind of guy that people celebrate, the fact that he was offered $50 million to do Batman again, and said, nah, I'm done with that.
Yeah. I mean, not only did he make Batman relevant again, he made superhero movies relevant again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was pretty much done. And now we're getting loaded with
Avengers.
That new X-Men, that X-Men First Class was really good.
Yeah. Where when superhero movies were big before this era,
Superman.
There's like Superman 1 and Superman 2.
Exactly.
Everything else sucks. And even parts of Superman 1 weren't that great.
No. It's kind of boring.
I mean, Superman 2 was cool to me as a kid because of the villains.
Yeah, because that's one of the three bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were badass. You liked that because you're like, oh shit, Superman might lose.
Dude, like they all had his powers and it was 3-on-1. That's a problem for old Superman.
No, I think a lot of people will say that they think Superman 2 is the best one. And you won't get many arguments there.
Richard Pryor shows up in one of them.
And you get all excited because like, it's Richard Pryor.
And it was hard. I don't even think I made it. Even as a kid, I don't think I made it through it. I turned it off or something. I can't remember.
The only thing I remember about that movie is that Richard Pryor has a cape and some skis on.
Oh, man.
And you're just like, what the hell is this garbage?
And I think that was the time when they were trying to convince Christopher Reeve, nah, we'll do something cool. How about we throw Richard Pryor with And he probably was like, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. Oh, Richard Pryor,
it's going to be a hit.
I love the toy. That movie wasn't racist.
Oh, man.
How did that movie even get made?
I don't... Well, remember, that goes back to the stuff that we talk about. The things that we grew up liking and watching and some of the TV shows and stuff would never get on air today. Just because they'd be considered too racy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can't make half the movies that you made back then. Because everybody would be like, oh, no. I mean, try putting Basic Instinct in the theaters now.
Yeah.
And people will lose their mind. Because what you wouldn't get an R rating. You would have to get something. Would you get the
NC-17
or
something?
If that. Because wasn't that the big stink with Eyes Wide Shut when that came out?
Was that rated NC-17 or did they just cut it? I think they cut it to make it
Did
R.
they? Because I thought they were. I remember they were talking like at one point it was gonna have to get an X rating. I was like, holy shit.
Maybe they gave it NC-17, something. I know for a while, yeah. And I kind of want to think if Kubrick had really had his way, it probably would have been rated X. But then again, he probably wanted people to see it too. I think he wanted it to be pretty hardcore, and I think he died before. Maybe, I don't know. I'm speculating, or maybe, but
yeah, no telling.
Because there's a famous, well, somewhat famous quote, if you know Kubrick, where before he ever made that movie, he said he wanted to make a mainstream porno film.
There you go.
With famous actors, like getting it on for real. So then the next thing he finally decides to do is Eyes Wide Shut. So we know where your mind was at, right?
Well, I mean,
interesting.
No, most definitely. I wouldn't be surprised because Clockwork Orange is pretty intense. There's some scenes where you're like, whoa.
Yeah, dude was in.
So yeah, I'm just making my way down his movie chart. I think I'm only 4 deep.
I still need to see a few. The fact that he would make people do like 100 takes would drive me insane.
Like I said, I I thought that one on that documentary where James Earl Jones was like, he's brilliant, he's a great director, but he uses actors like props.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's maddening.
It's like Hitchcock called actors cattle.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's always an interesting dynamic. That's why, I think I'm always that power struggle between who's in charge, is it the director or the actor? And, with certain directors, actors will listen to. I get surprised when I see directors that like what we were talking about with Scorsese. Yeah. When they find someone they like, I'm always surprised by that because I feel like there's always, and the others, they're like, who the fuck are you?
Just what if, like, the next guy that Scorsese puts in every one of his movies after DiCaprio is someone like Rob Schneider?
Never happen.
Or someone we just...
Yeah, we know that'll never happen.
That would pretty much ruin everything.
That would never happen.
Then, Clint Eastwood, I saw how Jay Moore was talking about working with Clint Eastwood. I can't remember what movie it was.
I was like, what movie did they work together?
Or maybe he knew a guy that worked with him. No, he did do a movie with him. I can't remember which one it was. Because he said he was talking to him, and he offered Jay Moore a drink. And Moore said, I don't drink anymore. And he totally blew it, because Eastwood was like, well, all right then.
That's one of the times you just fall off the wagon.
Yeah. Ask for no duels or something, And it was kind of like his opportunity to hang with Eastwood.
He blew it. Dude, that's just like, and it always goes me back to that story with Sybil Shepherd and Robert De Niro asked her out when they were doing Taxi Driver. And she was like, I should have just said yes. I'm like, yeah, you should have.
You just got to do it. But he was saying how to the one of the cameramen that did $1 Million Baby, because he knew from the movie he did with them, because apparently Eastwood does. He was talking, he uses the same crew for every movie.
Okay.
And that during $1 Million Baby, Hilary Swank went up to the cameraman and said, I need to talk to you after, can we talk in my trailer? Yeah. So she says, lock the door. He's like, oh, what the hell's going on? Because apparently Eastwood he does one take.
Yeah.
And he does not want to talk to anybody, the actors. It's like, I hired you. Sorry. When we get a break. And the cameraman was freaked out because he goes, a star never says that to a cameraman. And he's like, what, did I do something wrong? Like, what's going on? She goes, does Clint Eastwood, she goes, tell me the truth. Am I doing a horrible job? No, we all think you're doing great. Why? What's the problem? He won't talk to me.
Well, there's that big thing where he over budgets his movies, does the one take, and pockets the rest.
I think Eastwood's directing career is a giant Ponzi scheme.
It's like, because I've heard multiple people say, he's a shoot it, and then pockets the rest of the money of the budget. He's like, I'll need 75 and shoot it for like 30.
Well, they say you get one chance, and that's it. The dude doesn't even say action.
Oh, he was in Hereafter.
Yeah, I couldn't say the name of it. I kind of thought that was the one.
When you said, I was like, I have to find out what movie he was in. Interesting. That's so funny.
That had to be a big moral dilemma for Moore. Do I throw away 10 years of sobriety and become Eastwood's best friend? Is it worth it? Some people would have said yes.
Well, if the story stuck out to him, obviously he's like, damn it.
Yeah,
because
and you can tell Moore wants to have a bigger acting career than he does.
Oh, no doubt.
You can tell it kind of bothers him. He thinks he should be a bigger actor. That's why he probably brings up Jerry Maguire all the time.
Oh my god.
It's
And,
like I did it once, I can do it again.
and he is a guy who is his own worst enemy. I just think his personality just probably shuts people down. And it's just like if you listen to Rogan's podcast, like, because every comedian that comes on is like, da da da. And I really hate Jay Moore. And Rogan's like, no comics like this guy. And he's like, I have no problem with him. But he's like, every comic that comes on my podcast has something to say about this guy.
I wonder if it's any new comics though, because he seems like he's not as much of a dick as he used to be.
No, I think it's all old stuff.
Guys he came up with.
Yeah, I think it's stuff that happened. And he's talked about it on his podcast. It's just, and that's like the whole Patrice thing. It's that kind of thing where they come in and they just start grilling people and people don't know how to handle it. I can't describe it. It's nothing's really serious. It's just a guy just being a dick.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what they do. Because they don't know that he's just. But
well, it's like if you took everything Anthony Jeselnik did on stage seriously and thought that's who he is in real life, you probably wouldn't approach him.
You'd probably want to beat the shit out of him.
But he said, "Oh, I'm really a nice guy. That's not me. That's my stage persona.
Right.
I just decided when I was going to do this, it would be funnier to be a dick. So that's what I decided to do."
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it, but I the minute I heard like one of his first stand-ups, I was like, people are gonna have a hard time with him. I was like, it's funny, like it doesn't make me laugh out loud, but I think his jokes are really well done.
Yeah,
like he's another one of those guys where I'm like, that's a pretty good joke. But yeah, his stuff's so dark that I know people are like, whoa. But you gotta have a sense of humor, man.
Real.
But it's weird, but like. I don't know, like his name comes up a lot when comics have issues with people. It's always Jay Moore. That's why like it's funny if you listen to Rogan and Rogan just busts out laughing. He's like, man, every comic has an issue with this guy. It's just funny because he's like, I don't, but he's like, I haven't met anyone yet that has anything good to say about it. Talks about that one where Adam Carolla says that to him, that people hate to say that you're good.
To Moore.
Yeah, these are like, and he said like he always thought people hate. He's like, I always bring up you, and people hate to say good things about it. Like he's like, I can see the pain in their face.
Yeah.
When I bring up your name.
I tell you though, he has the best Colin Quinn impression.
Oh my god.
It is insanely good. It is so good. I feel like it really is Colin Quinn. That he just recorded his voice and he sounds exactly like Colin Quinn.
He does. It's funny because like if you look at those tough crowds, the one that there's one he's on, and he even goes, I can't help but start talking like you when I'm around you. And they're like both talking, and you're like, holy shit.
I need to hear that, because just hearing him do it on his own, on Moore's podcast, he obviously likes to do it because he finds a reason to throw it in there. But it's insanely good. It's one of the best impressions I've ever heard.
Do you, did you, on that podcast of his, when they're talking about Otto and George?
I don't know about that.
Do you know who Otto and George is?
No, not off the top of my head.
Ventriloquist.
Okay. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
And Jay Moore, they're talking about him, and he's a little more hardcore than other ventriloquists. So it's stuff like I go listen to it because it'll make you laugh because you're like, holy shit, this is funny as hell.
The doll's just staring at him.
Yeah, I'm in tears like listening to him tell that story, and he's doing the voice. Dude, go back and look at some of those. They put them up. Freaking hilarious. Because there's one where Jay Moore calls up and like he's going back and forth with Jay Moore does an impression of the doll. Yeah. And it's like sounds just like him. And they're talking about him, and they're talking about a story that happens on opening and nothing. And dude, it's so funny that I'm like freaking tears listening to that story. Because I'm like, holy crap, he sounds exactly like him.
Yeah, just how they feel like they're truly talking to the doll.
Otto, and he's like, damn it. And the guy, even Otto goes, is he doing the puppet? You're like, holy shit, he sounds just like him.
Man. Well, I do like that about Moore, that he'll defend and say he likes stuff that's not cool to like.
Right.
It's why I like the fact that Justin said he likes Jay Leno. Because no comic these days can admit to liking Jay Leno.
Oh, it blew me away because like like I said on the video when he tells Jay to his face, it's like and he even says it's uncool to like you. You know what the deal is, and you know how our business is. But he's like, you're the man. People don't know who you used to be. They know who you are right now. And I was like, that's pretty cool because no one talked. Like you said, we talked about it a lot. Leno was the man back in the day.
He was, absolutely.
He was the comics comic.
Oh, yeah.
And
he was what Louis C.K. is now, basically.
As much as David Letterman trashes him, David Letterman was one of his biggest fans.
And he even said recently, Letterman, that he's the funniest guy I've ever met.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Letterman got like the 60 Minutes interview, and they had to ask him about it.
I didn't. Letterman is painful for me, so.
Oh, to me, he's just a grumpy old man these days. To look back at before he even got this current show, which he's had for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
But when he had the late night show that Conan took over, he was so amazing how much better he was then. And I know it's easy to say because he was young, but he just was. He was so cutting edge and fresh and did stuff that no other talk show host at that point. To me, it's had ever done.
Right.
He even admits in that 60 Minutes interview he doesn't go to the meetings anymore. And now he's just like a grumpy version of Carson.
Yeah.
Or I don't even know who. He just sits there and doesn't really do much. It's like he doesn't care. He just collects his paycheck.
And he owns the freaking thing, so...
Yeah.
It's his production company, right? If I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, Roll My Pants.
It's just money on top of money for him.
Just go through the motions and get paid. And he said he was going to retire like 15 years ago. And people took him seriously. And I think he just realizes and people don't give him crap about that. They still talk like he's a friggin' legend. And I'm not a big Leno fan, but current state Leno fan. But
I'm not.
They give Leno crap for that way more than Letterman. Oh, he's just going through the motions. He's not going through the motions as much as Letterman is. Right. He's trying, I think, harder than Letterman is, and that's why he's beating the pants off of him in the ratings. You can hate Leno all you want, but he's beating him in the key demographic by like 75 percentage points. That's insane.
It's just a cool thing to say you don't like Leno. It's definitely deserved. Because, before I thought he was taking shit for stuff he shouldn't take shit for.
Yeah.
But now, you can't overlook that. And Leno has, I think before it wasn't, some of the venom wasn't deserved. But now, because of what he did to Conan, is that.
See, and to me, part of it is I was out there criticizing him for the Conan stuff more than anybody. And, okay, maybe he's not the worst person in the world. The business is a shitty business.
It really is.
And
because,
they shouldn't be kicking him out now when he's, now I feel like there's almost going to be a backlash the opposite direction where people should be giving him a little bit of understanding, just a little bit. It's the whole same thing over again.
No one will look and say it's fucked up what NBC did. It's fucked up what Leno did, because Leno could have stopped it.
Bad decision to be made, a wrong decision to be made. They made it.
They made it 100 times over.
Yeah.
Like when Conan's deal was up, but it's fucked up that NBC would take it from Conan. And no one really kind of gave a shit about that.
Well, the whole NBC if there was a...
And they desperately wanted to keep him on that the late night show that was after Leno's show, and because he waited, what was like almost 8 years, right?
Yeah, it was a
So
long time. And it was insane to plan it out that long in advance.
they should have made the decision like, okay, is he our guy? Is he not our guy? But to promise him that show and knowing that Leno was dominating at that time,
Yeah, and had no desire to leave.
nothing, you're assuming that this show would go down in the toilet. It came up with that dumbass idea to put his show on before.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare. It just, and Leno should have just left if they wanted.
And he'd be saying, screw you guys. The thing is, for so many years, they've just underestimated what Leno's capable of.
Right. And even leading up to it, you knew, oh shit, this thing, he's still powering through. Why should we take this down? But, you still went through with, to give the show to him, he should have left. But, because he would have gotten another deal somewhere else.
If he could have gone to Fox or some other network, he'd be winning. And that's the whole thing. Somebody made the right decision years ago when they gave the job to Leno over Letterman. And since then, they've made every wrong decision.
And NBC was so scared when that whole thing went down that 8 years back because ABC was starting a late night show and they had two names on their list. They're like, we're going to get him. So they had, they were like, ABC was sitting back, we're going to get one of those two guys. And they're like, oh, we're going to make a killing.
Yeah.
So NBC was like, how can we're either going to get Conan or if, they give Conan the late, because there was buzz that, he would get the late night show or, Leno's show. And they were like, if Leno goes, keep both of them. And that's how that whole thing.
You got greedy.
Yeah, let's do this. Because, Kimmel was like their plan F. He was so far down the line.
And he still doesn't get very good ratings.
No, he had that one, month maybe where he blew it out of the water. And
it's not even the same.
But it worked well enough to scare NBC into bringing up Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Which, it's just like, everybody's like, come on. And I was like, it's only a matter of time.
No.
I mean, it was funny.
Especially if you look in that key demographic, they all care about where Leno is and where Kimmel is.
It did way back when they were like, if Conan leaves and goes to another network, he's gonna take that demographic.
Because they're so obsessed with that young demographic, we got to get a young host. But Leno's an old guy, and he's killing it in that young demographic.
Exactly. And just like if it goes from first to third, Jimmy Fallon gets there and fails. All hell was gonna break loose at NBC. You know it.
Yeah. Are they bringing him in February?
Yeah, it was something like the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, but not the first part of the year.
No.
Steve Martin was on Fallon, and he said, "Aren't you gonna take over the Tonight Show in February?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like that's like the 12th most popular month to do anything before the summer, and asked him about it. The way he said it was, of course, classic. It's like, why would they bring you in February? Why wouldn't they should be hyping you up for the right. And he's naming all these other times they should do it. It was kind of funny.
Sweeps, because of what the sweeps are in is it November?
Yeah, I think.
So if Leno is blowing it out in November, it's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be after that and leading up. They're gonna be like, oh crap.
Oh, and he will be. I guarantee it.
Oh, no doubt.
Because he's gonna be giving NBC shit, and he's gonna be at the top. It's probably gonna be and his ratings started going up, and he was just killing it every night. And people, for a second, you're like, wait, did we make the wrong decision? Best Leno Tonight Show stuff you've ever seen. Because currently, supposedly, he's better than ever because he doesn't give a crap. It's like when Conan didn't give a crap. But he's got nobody to answer to anymore. That's
Right.
Conan didn't have anybody, and now Leno doesn't. It's probably going to be darn entertaining, and the ratings are going to be great, and then it's going to be real awkward.
So funny. Like, if you could pick someone to do that, who would you pick? Like, would you go with a comedian? Is there, someone that's not, Letterman, Leno, or Conan, or Fallon, or the other dude that I can't think of his name right now. Um,
Carson.
no. The dude for CBS.
Daily.
The one we talk about all the time.
Oh, Fergerson.
Yeah, that's the guy. None of those guys, but there's someone out there, like comedian, whoever.
Man, I want to say Seinfeld. I think would be a decent talk show host.
I think Seinfeld would be great. People would love him.
And I feel like when Letterman had his heart issue, there was talk that Seinfeld was going to take over. But yeah, and I think that could have worked. I don't know. I think he would be good at it. I don't know how interested. It's hard to tell with Seinfeld what he's really feels. I don't know.
I don't think he would want to work that hard.
No.
Like, that would be my only drawback with Seinfeld is I don't think he wants to do something that requires
just
him
doing whatever he wants to do.
Exactly.
Not having really the answer.
Because remember he did the guest hosting with Kelly Ripa for like what was it, a week, 2 weeks, and everyone was like, "Will Jerry?" And I was like, "He's not gonna do it. He's just trying it out to see if he'd like it."
I mean, even those comedians in cars having coffee is like, I think he likes in one show. He can talk to his heroes like Mel Brooks, Don Rickles, people like that. He can show off cars. That's as hard as he wants to work. 10-minute episodes.
Exactly.
About 8 a year.
Talking about cars, drinking coffee, being funny.
That's
all he
probably
wants.
his dream job.
Yeah,
cars.
Hang out with his friends.
Yeah, hang out with his friends, talk comedy. It's like the perfect blend of everything he likes. So yeah, I don't know, who do you have for that?
I was struggling trying to think of somebody. I was like, who do I think would be good at it? That's why I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I can't think of anyone because everyone that comes to mind, I'm like, yeah, I could see them not liking it or being because run off for being saying something that's off the cuff and people are like, oh.
I can't think of anybody that would have the right temperament but still be funny. Like Colin Quinn, obviously,
that's funny because I actually pulled up Colin Quinn and I was like, man, he's funny, but I don't think people get it.
No, he's not. He's one of those dudes that I don't think will ever be huge. Like, he's probably as big as he'll ever be right now.
Right.
How Norm should have a talk show, but nobody in the business can figure out what to do, in his words, with. And actually, I'm pretty sure it was him that went off on a rant recently, and said that how Norm Macdonald should be bigger than he is, and that this brilliant comedian's mind, which is Norm Macdonald, so they give him a friggin' sports show of all things.
And they didn't even, they like gave him a minute to do it. Like, they canceled it before anyone could even try to get into it.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think a Norm Macdonald standard format, non-podcast type talk show could have the potential to be legendary. But I also think if you want your guest to get a word in, they might not ever get the talk back.
See, I think it would normally it'll always be advertising because advertisers would be scared as hell of Norm.
Yeah, they drive him crazy.
Because I mean, freaking Man Great dropped.
Hold the Man Great thought and let's just pause real quick.